Welcome to another show. We're going to be talking about fear and anxiety because all targeted individuals deal with that. And it's intense because you never know when you're going to get attacked. You don't know what it's going to be. You don't know what's going to happen. Am I going to have to relocate? Is it going to be people in my neighborhood? Is it going to be people in my family? What's going to happen? Is it going to be people at my job? What am I going to have to deal with now? Am I going to get covertly poisoned? Is somebody going to break into my house? Have they put cameras in my bathroom? Am I going to end up on social media? Well, what's happening? Why are these people doing it? That's another thing. Because people will get into arguments, or the targeted individual will get caught in that place where they have to explain why this stuff is happening to them. And you get people arguing and saying, why are they doing that to you? They've never done that to me. Well, why the hell are they doing any of this anyway? Right? That's the bigger question, right? And I've dealt with that before. These targeted individuals are all getting harassed. It might be manifesting in different ways. We might not exactly know all the specifics of what's going on, but how could you? How could you know that? You wouldn't, but you do know what's happening, okay? Sometimes targeted individuals read into things, but that's understandable because they're getting traumatized, they're getting attacked. Extreme, maybe even irrational paranoia is just part of the game for targeted individuals. It's natural. When you're in a high state of anxiety, when you're hypervigilant, when you're trying to survive, you're in flight or fight mode, yeah, there's going to be some paranoia. There's even going to be irrational paranoia. There's going to be irrational fear, okay? There's going to be a lot of anxiety. And, what is up with that, right? Why are these people doing it? Well, there's a million different explanations, right? And people can be feeding on the targeted individual. They're getting off on it. It's like that type of spiritual vampirism. There's cults involved or something. Or you got the government scenario where they're experimenting on the targeted individual. You've got other people that just want to vent and play God. You've got other people that are using them for social coercion, right? The guy is stuck to the dartboard or whatever. The girl, pasted on the front of the cooler at the bar. Yeah, I mean, it's not funny, but the point is there's a lot of different reasons, okay? I've gotten into conversations with people before. Well, I've never, experienced V2K. Well, that's good. The thing to remember is that it's not hypothetical, okay? V2K is really easy to do. In fact, I've got a video about that. It doesn't take high-tech equipment. They don't have to roll in a bunch of machines and tanks and set up a trailer across from where you live. They can do it with some pretty, small equipment, handheld stuff. It's not that hard. I'm serious. Pretty easy to do. It's proven, it's real, and it happens to people. What about directed energy weapons? Absolutely. Do I understand all the stuff that goes into that? No. But once again, I don't think it takes, somebody rolling in with a bunch of large equipment to accomplish it. There's a lot of different things. What about implants? There's a lot of controversy over that, right? Because, I got a conversation with a guy the other day. We were talking about the fact that, in order to broadcast a frequency, you have to have a power source. Well, there's a lot of people that would speculate that the body is being used for those types of implants. Well, I don't even know because a lot of it's speculative. I don't throw out technology, by the way. I use the spiritual application, and I also believe that technology comes from the spiritual dimension. There are things that Duncan or even Dr. Hall or other people have talked about that probably doesn't even come close to the things that are being used on targeted individuals. And the government might not even know about all the things that are out there because, like I said, it comes from the top down. Targeted individuals are dealing with synchronicities. They are dealing with things that seem to be set up in advance. In my opinion, they are. Well, how is that possible? Well, it's time dilation. That's one explanation. That's science, right? If you're standing next to the pyramids in Egypt, those things are so heavy, there's literally time dilation. Or, how they have to sync up the satellites because they're moving so fast away from the center of gravity, right? It's kind of a clue there for you. But when you have a dimensional perspective, when you're dealing with a spiritual realm mixed with technology, mixed with human beings, in a world where people are synchronized and they are being manipulated, what do you have? You have the perfect scenario to really mess with someone is what you got. Okay? And, however it's working out for you, I'd be real careful before I was critical about judging someone in their scenario, right? I've seen that before. Whether it's V2K or whether they believe that they have an implant, people are showing up at geographical locations. They think they're being tracked, right? They might run to a hotel and they get there and people are going to show up, right? In the next room, or they're already there. And you got the directed conversations, they're banging on the walls, they're banging on the ceiling, you got other things going on, they're standing outside your door and talking about stuff that is completely relevant to the situation you're dealing with. How does that work? Well, there's a lot of ways it works. And like I said before, if I hadn't seen this stuff, I don't know if I'd believe it. And you got to be real careful who you talk to. And a lot of targeted individuals, well, we gotta get a voice. We gotta march through the streets. I respect their attitude, and I know they're just trying to stand up for themselves and other targeted individuals. But it's pretty hard to do from a padded cell, right? This stuff is designed to make you look crazy. It is. It seems random. It seems chaotic, but it's actually accomplishing a lot. It's a multitask way to drive someone crazy, a no-touch way to kill someone, to invade their psyche and control their mind. And the fear and the anxiety are the medium. They're the main staple of gangstalking, to put them into that hypervigilant state of mind so that their brain can be invaded, so the associations can be formed. Right? They're not asking permission. They're not trying to trick you or to hypnotize you. They can do it just by freaking you out. Right? A little bit of street theater, a little bit of directed conversation along with it. It's primitive but sophisticated. Putting the target in a place where they fear for their life is crucial. They fear that something horrible is going to happen. A lot of the street theater that targeted individuals get is very hateful. Okay? And once again, we have a multitasking scenario because a very hateful and unsympathetic atmosphere must surround the target. Right? They have to use that social dynamic. They create that through disinformation, smear campaigns, just making the target dysfunctional, right? They might be disheveled. They look like they're strung out on some kind of drug, but they're just experiencing the effects of harassment. Or sometimes they might even get into substance abuse, which is a bonus for the gang stalkers, because they can just make them look even worse and use that recipe of disgust and anger to create that frothing cup of hate that they want to pour over the targeted individual to keep them from getting any help or support, to keep them isolated. It's all about hate. It's all about getting the target to lose everything, to lose their job, to lose their children, to lose their support, to lose their self-esteem, to lose their hope, everything. Because it's all about hate. It's about murder. And there the targeted individual is, all alone. Workplace harassment, no support, covert druggings, directed energy weapons, V2K, getting fumed, getting drugged, getting screwed over by family members and everyone around them. It's all about hate. It's all about fear. And then the next natural byproduct of this scenario is shame. Oh yeah. You're paranoid. What's wrong with you? What the hell's your problem, right? You get accusations. There's all kinds of things flying around, and I've talked about that before. It's completely inconsistent when the targeted individual is accused of being crazy in a way that is completely unsympathetic. You know what you're dealing with at that point. People are venting on you, right? They're either doing it on purpose or they're just doing it subconsciously. But either way, do they really believe that? Because if they did, well, they wouldn't be angry with you. You wouldn't be getting shamed. You wouldn't be getting accused. People wouldn't be persecuting you because it wouldn't be your fault. It's ridiculous. Completely inconsistent. And then you move into the next facet of this never-ending churning meat grinder that you've been thrown into, and that is how you're going to stop it. How are you going to fix it? What are you going to do? There's things that everybody needs to survive. You got to put a roof over your head. You got to have a job. You got to have somebody to talk to, right? You got to have a little bit of fun. You got to try to enjoy life a little bit. How are you going to do that with all these things happening? How are you ever going to fix it? It's enough to drive anybody crazy. Well, there is a way to deal with that, and that's with protocols. And you have to know that that's part of the strategy, okay? Because you're going to be consumed. And there are a lot of people, I'm going to sue the government, right? I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, I'm going to suggest you just kind of back off a little bit, okay? Just relax. A lot of the stuff, in fact, most of the things that targeted individuals are dealing with are completely out of their control. The most effective way that I found to deal with their calculated chaos is just simply have a routine, right? You get up, you go to work, no matter what. Okay, if you're still functional enough to get up and drive and go do your job, you do it. I don't care if you didn't sleep. I don't care what's going on. You just do it because they want to throw that off. They want you in a corner somewhere, chattering your teeth away, trying to figure out how you're going to fix all this stuff. And with protocols, you don't have to do that. You know what you're going to do. Okay, you're not worried about finding the perfect job. You just find a job and you just do it. You show up. You're not listening to the directed conversations. You're not paying attention to the workplace harassment because you found a simple job and you're just going to do it. And when you're done, you go home and you try to eat. If they're banging on your house or doing other things, well, you know what? Swallow a couple bites, lay there, put on some headphones and do something else. And you know what? The thing that you need to remember when that kind of stuff is happening, when it's hot and heavy like that, is that you are frustrating them far more than they're frustrating you. I know it seems crazy. I know it doesn't seem possible, but it's true. Okay? And they're just sitting there wondering how you're doing it. And I've done it for years. And that's the only way to fight back sometimes. That's really all you can do is just keep doing what you know to do. Some will say, well, that's not a solution. Well, yeah, it is. Okay, when you can keep moving in spite of workplace harassment, persecution from law enforcement, persecution from your family, persecution from everybody around you, from strangers, from people in your neighborhood, in your apartment complex, and you keep doing what you're supposed to be doing, what do you think they're trying to do? This stuff is based on stimuli, okay? And they are the stimuli. They are the ones trying to throw that monkey wrench in your system, and you're not letting them do it. You are accomplishing something that they could not do, or they wouldn't be doing what they're doing. At that point, you are a living, breathing, walking testament of perseverance and strength, the likes of which they do not understand. I'm not saying that all people are being recruited as gang stalkers to be conformed, but some of them are. And the people that are, they're going to look at you like you're some type of superhuman. After a while, they're going to have respect for you. Okay, I've seen it happen. It might take some time. It might take years, but they will. Because you are doing the thing that they are unwilling to do, and that's the right thing. No matter how far down you get, no matter how dysfunctional you become, no matter how bad of a day, week, or a decade you have, in my opinion, you still have more right to be on this planet than any of the people involved in this activity, period. And it's not just a pep talk. It's not virtue signaling. It's something you need to remember. Targeted individuals deal with gaslighting, okay? They deal with that type of campaign. They get accused in their dysfunction. And along the way, sometimes targeted individuals forget. They're being attacked. They're being bullied. These people do not have the right to do this. And they are going to be sorry. They are going to regret it. They are going to have to deal with it. They will be judged. Okay? You need to remember those things. It's not about being vengeful. It's not about being sadistic. It's not about being futile. It's a fundamental reality. And these people are judging you. They are persecuting you. How will they escape? They're going to be judged by the very judgment they gave you and worse. A lot of the fear that goes along with gang stalking is how does this stuff work? How is it that strangers can know your personal business? Why would family members that you thought would die for you all of a sudden turn on you? What about your friends and co-workers? You leave, you relocate, and it starts up again. What's going on? People talk about the hive mind, right? What is it? Are people being controlled by some type of government technology? Are people being contacted on their phones? What about all the people that have experienced gang stalking before the advent of cell phones, right? Right? Let alone the smartphone. And I've seen this stuff way, way back, right? They didn't even have the internet, really up and running until probably the end of the 90s, to where it was really working proficiently, right? They had the old copper systems. In fact, that's what I used to do. I started putting in OC 192s for Nortel, and, that's what I did. But they didn't have that. We didn't have, we still had payphones. We still had all kinds of things, and it was there. I saw it with my own eyes. How does it work? There's a lot of explanations, and I don't think you can really isolate it to one thing. There's a lot of fear involved in that, A lot of targeted individuals become agoraphobic, all right? They're just afraid to leave the house. Every time they do, they get attacked. And then another propensity for targeted individuals is to start tearing things apart. They're tearing apart their vehicles, trying to find the equipment, the audio device, the GPS tracker, right? The cameras. They're sitting there in the middle of the night, and all these things are just churning around in their mind, and they're just trying to figure out where could it be? Well, a lot of people would say it's unexplainable. I think there's a lot of explanations. I think some of this stuff is just purely demonic. I think the advent of this technology just makes it easier, okay? I think that there is a lot of technology involved, obviously, with V2K and energy weapons. People can coordinate a lot of things with their cell phones. I'm not going to deny that. They're going to hack your phone. Is there even one targeted individual that's listening to this that hasn't probably gone through a zillion phones already? Right? They love that. Right? They love that stuff. Okay, there's a lot of ways this stuff works. There's a lot of ways now that people can just dig in, just go online and find all kinds of information about someone. There are companies that make their living and profit by compiling all this data about you. Right? There's warehouses full to the point where there are conversations that if you were alive back in the 70s, they've been recorded. Every electronic communication that has ever existed in the United States from the advent of electronic communication has been recorded and filed and stored away. It's a well-known fact. If they really wanted to, they could go back and listen to conversations that I had back in, the early 70s, showing my age here. But they have it recorded. They have the ability to do that if they really have to. As far as the satellites, you're out there in the middle of, Alaska or something like that, and you're doing something you're not supposed to be doing. If they really wanted to, if they really had the need or the priority to look at something wherever, it's basically worldwide coverage at this point. They could do that. Okay. I wouldn't be afraid of the thought of people watching you, though. Okay. And that's the next thing, is that you're just like everybody else. And when people confront you, maybe personal information, they use street theater on you, directed conversations or whatever. Yeah, I might not know the personal information of these people. I might not know their dirty little secrets, but I know they got them. Right? And I also know what's going to happen to them. There's a penalty that comes with freaking you out, with trying to cripple you with anxiety and fear. That's the medium of gangstalking. That's how they control people. That's how they manipulate them. That's how they invade their mind. Are you being watched? Yeah, you're being watched. But so are they. And you have to remember that. Well, hopefully this video has helped some of you out. If nothing else, hopefully it's distracted you from this nightmare that you've been thrown into. Know that you're not alone. I know exactly how you feel. Be good to yourselves. Be safe.